Hey friends, today I am excited to share with you some spectacular September flowers at the gardens here at Creekside Nursery and at the house. Oh my goodness, it is a glorious September. So we're gonna do a quick little tour of some gorgeous annuals that are just blooming their heads off and doing great. Also at the end, we're gonna do a little update on the terrace garden and see how everybody is doing there. I am here at the Signature Garden, and y'all, there are just some gorgeous things. A couple of things that I want to focus on though is, if you've been around Jenny for any length of time, you know that I am a huge fan of Cleome. Senorita Rosalita is doing spectacular here in early September at the gardens. This is a glorious annual, thornless, seedless, doesn't have the odor maybe that traditional Cleomes have, but it is a magnificent plant that is just performing her head off and looking great. This is such an underused plant. I want you to use more Cleomes in the garden. This is Senorita Rosalita. We're gonna look at the white one here in just a second because she is doing just as well. And then caladiums, right? Caladiums are great for those hot, humid, end of summer days. They just look wonderful. Do they have flowers? No, they do not. Do they have glorious color and interest? They sure do, especially when you plant them in mass, like we have here at the Signature Garden. We have them around every bench, and they just make such a nice big impact. Love these plants. And they look great with the Senorita Rosalita. All right, now we talked about the Senorita Rosalita. Let's check out the Senorita Blanca. Senorita Blanca is absolutely stunning when planted in mass. It is a beautiful plant that just brings height, it brings texture. The gorgeous white color to these flowers are just unbelievable. Cleome, y'all, you need to add Cleome to your garden. Clearly, they get kind of big, so you need to plan for that, right? Learn from my mistakes and maybe don't plant her in a confined area like I did with the Senorita Rosalita this past year on the patio. Give them room to breathe, just like we have here kind of in the nook at the Signature Garden. But Senorita Rosalita or Senorita Blanca, both of them are spectacular plants. When you get some height to them, give you some interest, the pollinators love them, the butterflies love them, and they are just low maintenance, easy peasy, no fuss plants that are looking spectacular here in September. A wonderful surprise for me this year, a great pleasant surprise, has been the Mystic Illusion Dahlia. Oh my word. Now, I have seen this plant in other landscapes in various places before. We never added it to our own garden. We did it this year at the Signature Garden, and y'all, this thing is just unbelievable. Paired with the Golden Dreams coleus back there, it just is perfect for fall. You've got this really nice dark, deep foliage, close to being black foliage, right? And then look at those beautiful flowers. Classic, just sweet, bright yellow, very cheery, very happy, continuous bloomer. I mean, this thing has gone nuts all season long. It's kind of taken over the raised bed here, but honestly, at this time of the year, I don't mind. It is totally fine. You can use them singularly, you can use them as a specimen plant, or you can use them like we did, kind of in mass, and there you go. So if you want a great flower that just produces non-stop flowers, would make also a great cut flower that's going to take you all the way through the fall, then you're going to love the Mystic Illusion Dahlia. They will get some height to them, right? So you can see that this one's gotten some good height, probably in that, gosh, 3.5 feet tall. And then sometimes maybe they fall over in the wind, but you know what? Look at that. It's okay. It just goes a little bit lower, but it can handle it, and it just blooms and blooms and blooms. I have trimmed this one time. I do not deadhead them, and they are just easy, gorgeous plants. And then, like I said, when it's paired with that Color Blaze Golden Dreams coleus, oh my goodness, makes a huge impact here in the gardens at the beginning of September. When you come to the nursery, we have a flower bed that's planted in the new introductions for next year from Proven Winners. There's a couple that are really standing out here in September that I want to share with you. First is the Aromagica Purple. This is a heliotrope. Y'all, look at that. Is it not gorgeous? This is the tightest, most compact plant. I adore it. And then you have those deep, deep, rich purple flowers on it. Tight, compact. Look how gorgeous the foliage is. In the south in September, to have this fresh of a foliage is insane. Love this plant. Put it on your shopping list for next year. Aromagica Purple. You're going to love it. Also, we're going to have a new unplugged white salvia. It too is looking great here in September. Nice and petite. It's not going to be massive. It's not going to take over like maybe the rockin' salvias do. That unplugged white, beautiful. I don't know if you can see the bees, but there are bees all over it. And then maybe you have heard about the new Supertunia tiaras. We have Supertunia tiara pink, looking really well, especially for September. You know me, I've pulled out all of my petunias. So there's the pink tiara, and then there is the tiara purple down there. Or blue, rather. They look purple. So the tiaras have more of kind of that ombre look to them. So they have kind of a nice faded, kind of a creamy white center that then go into that nice darker, the pink, and then of course the blue, purple, however you want to look at it. So these new Supertunia tiaras are gorgeous, along with that salvia and the Aromagica Purple. If you've been around me for any length of time in the end of summer into fall, you know that I am a huge fan of lantana. Y'all, dear heavens, this lantana is absolutely out of control, but in the most glorious way possible. It is stunning. We have it planted, of course, in mass here at the berm, and it is just lovely. I hear the hummingbirds. They're squeaking and they're talking to me as they're flying around because they love the lantana. Your pollinators love the lantana, as do like your butterflies, you name it, they love this plant. Loves the heat, loves the humidity, will go into the fall just in a perfect way. So you've got this beautiful, you've got the lemon tart, right? Nice, rich, pure yellow flowers. I kind of compare it to like a big bird. So think of that way, big bird yellow. That's how I tell people the shade of yellow is. And planted in mass, yellow, of course, makes a huge impact. Then we have red zone. Red zone, again, another great color to take you into fall. Just, y'all, really, let's just take a moment and appreciate the colors within this plant. Gorgeous, absolutely stunning, spectacular. Again, look at the foliage, beautiful, glossy foliage. There's no powdery mildew. There is nothing. It is stunning. Salvias, we were talking about them. Here you go. You have the Rockin' Playing the Blues. Y'all, just non-stop flowers. There are so many pollinators on these plants right now. It is unbelievable. We've got butterflies, we have got bumblebees, I see some honeybees, I see some little beneficial wasps, everything you can imagine, just glorious. Now, I have not deadheaded these, I have not pinched them back. I did very, very early on when I first planted them, but there you go. And whenever you can pair like a blue and a yellow together, it is a great combination. And then of course you put it right beside this lantana that is red, and then you just have this gorgeous color explosion. So the Rockin' Playing the Blues along with your luscious lantanas are just rocking it out here in September. My friends, if you are looking for a very quick privacy screen, maybe even a temporary privacy screen for the growing season, let me introduce you to these two fellas. These are fantastic. You've got the vertigo grass, right? So this is the largest purple fountain grass. It is an annual. I would say only if you live in like the hottest parts of the country would this possibly even be a perennial. It's definitely going to be an annual, but vertigo grass is, it's just a workhorse. So this is one plant, right? I planted these as 1 gallons, or it may even been quarts, like the Grandes when I planted it. Nice and big. The more water you give them, the bigger they are. Just stunning. There's 2 of them right here. There is a 3rd one, but this Incredible is kind of swallowing it up. But vertigo grass is a gorgeous, huge grass that gives you, like, the blades on this thing are really large, right? Nice color, really fun interest. It will not do plumes. It only does like just that foliage, and I say it's only the foliage. My gosh, y'all, it is absolutely spectacular. You can put them in containers, but it needs to be a massive container. You can see here in the landscape, I would really encourage you to put these in the landscape, but they make a massive presence in your garden. You will see these from a distance. These are great. Love, love, love this grass, vertigo grass. And then its companion behind it is sweet potato vine. This is the Upside Key Lime sweet potato vine. It is a climbing sweet potato vine. There are 4 plants that are here. This used to be our chicken coop, so there is chicken wire behind it. I planted these as Grandes down at the bottom, and they have just taken over and done exactly what I wanted them to do. So you can get the key lime, which is of course this nice chartreuse color. Yeah, there's a couple little critter bites on it. That's all right. We have some native caterpillars here that like to eat on the sweet potato vine, but it's not bad, right? From a distance, you're not going to see it, so it's okay. So you can either do the key lime or you can do the black one. There is a very dark one that you could do that as well if you wanted to switch it up a little bit. I tell people, if you sit still long enough, this plant will climb you. So it literally will climb anything. You can see that it is kind of twisting around itself right there. A mailbox, a trellis, an arbor, a gazebo, you name it, like chicken wire, just so you can see what it is growing on. It is like, it truly is just good old plain chicken wire in here that you can see right here. And so this is from the back, and you can see basically where the plants were. So we had 1, 2, it's kind of hard to see, 3, and then 4. This section gets afternoon sun, therefore that's why it's growing in here. But if you want a fast growing, gorgeous impact of a plant to cover something for the growing season, the Upside sweet potato vines are going to be the answer for it. And then you pair it with a gorgeous grass like this, that color contrasting. Oh, the only thing that I hate about this bed, the only thing that drives me, kind of makes me sad, is that this is on the back of our property. This is on the back side of the cottage. You got like my little garden shed, and so you don't really see it that very often. Isn't that sad? It's so pretty, but yeah, you don't get to see it because it is on the back side. That's the one downside about this garden, but man, these are doing great. Now, next, huge surprise. I never thought this plant would ever, 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 ever make it through my summer here in North Carolina, but it is hanging on like a champ. Let me show you what it is. Those of you that have been following us for a length of time know that we were going to be the host of a wedding this past spring for one of our former employees. The wedding got moved to an indoor location after all the flooding, but we were preparing all like winter into spring for hosting this wedding. In late March, we planted campfire marshmallow bidens, and I thought, okay, we're going to do this, and we did the Aromanth mulberry nemesia paired with it, and I was like, okay, if we can get it through to the end of May, maybe they'll hold on, they'll look great for the wedding, and then we'll pull them out and we'll put something else in. Y'all, hello, look at that campfire marshmallow bidens. When I say these things are absolute rock stars, that is what I mean. I mean, y'all, yes, we had to water them when we first put them in, right? So I just had to go through and do some watering on them. I think maybe I water-soluble fertilize them just a handful of times. When I say I have done nothing with these babies in months, that is exactly what I mean. Now, the rest of the flower bed's looking a little rough, but let me tell you, these campfire marshmallows are doing great. They look like little daisies almost, and they are glorious, nice and petite. They're not taking over. They're not just going nuts. They are being so well behaved, nice and short, tight, compact, and are stunning. They look great, right? with the hibiscus back there. That's the Summerific Valentine's crush. And then of course the ginkgo. The ginkgo's taking on a little bit of some yellow hues, my friends. Don't look at the massive weeds that may be growing in this bed. No, we're only gonna focus on the beauty, that's right. So we did the marshmallow on the four corners of the beds. And they are still, like you can see from a distance, they are doing quite nicely. The Nemesia did not hang in. The Nemesia really, it just got too hot. These are full sun. There is irrigation on here, but it's not great irrigation as far as like strong coverage. You can see I have one little Nemesia hanging on, surrounded by a bunch of dead plants and weeds. We're not, again, not focusing on that. We're only focusing on the beautiful Bidens, that's right. And so I have been really impressed with these guys. I never thought in a million years that here we would be in September and they still would be rocking it out, but they are. So we are super excited about these campfire marshmallows. I will be using them more in various places. I don't know where, but I know that I love their tight, compact habit, that bright pop of white, doing really well. And I mean, you couldn't ask for a better performer for a cool weather plant here in North Carolina. All right, let me show you one more area because, dear heavens, you know what I'm talking about, like the definition of spectacular? Let me show you what it is. I know I keep showing you this, these flowers, but I have to, y'all. They are absolutely glorious. These are our deck boxes, right? So this says we are off of the back porch, overlooking where we were just standing down there. There's are the Bidens, the deck boxes. These are basically raised beds that my dad made for me here on our deck. And yeah, look at them. You've got Super Bean and Pink Cashmere, right? Just loving life. Here you go. You've got like a hummingbird moth on there. We have the brand new for next year. This is the Supertunia Mini Vista Plum Vein. Love this plant. It is beautiful. We've got the white Angelonia coming in. You can see it a little bit better here. It is doing really well. One of the new Kufias that will be out from Proven Winners is Violet something. I haven't memorized all the names yet, but look at that. Isn't that so much fun? Pairs beautifully with that plum vein and of course the pink cashmere, looking glorious, beautiful, absolutely stunning. And then the dahlias. The next year, Proven Winners is going to introduce some new dahlias, and they are doing gorgeous, doing really well. Now, as I sit here and I filmed this for you, look, do you see my little quote friend right here, who's having a little munchy time on my dahlia? Yeah, I think that's going to be a chicken snack here for it in a little bit. But in September, here in North Carolina, a zone 8A, to have this beautiful display of annuals when we've gone through the summer just makes my heart happy. You know that we gave this a really severe prune, probably closer to 6 weeks ago, 4 to 6 weeks ago now. And it just rejuvenated the plants and just made them so gorgeous. Flush back out. They are on drip irrigation, so they get watered every day, full sun, and then I water soluble fertilized them twice since I cut them back, and they are just absolutely rocking it out. And then you pair it right here with the blue chiffon Rose of Sharon. It's so fun because the hummingbirds love this Rose of Sharon, and they particularly love it because they use it as a perch, because right behind me we have one of our hummingbird feeders, and so they will come to the hummingbird feeder, but they use the Rose of Sharon as a little perch to fight off the other girls that come into the bird feeder. But just know that you may be looking at these plants, right? And I have gone through to find plants that are just looking spectacular here in September. Are there messes in my garden? Absolutely. But you know what? Sometimes we just put the blinders on to the messes and we focus on the beauty, right? There is enough mess in this world. Let's just focus on the beauty. The mess, we'll take care of that eventually. It'll be fine, no worries. But let's purposefully seek out the beautiful things in our gardens, even if it's one little tiny flower. I don't care how small that blessing is, it is still a blessing, and we're gonna focus on that and enjoy that and savor that. There's plenty of time to fix the other stuff in the world. we're going to focus on the beauty of our gardens here in September. So I hope that if you don't have any of these plants in your gardens, and I know we did focus on annuals on this session of the Spectacular September Flowers, we'll come back and we'll do something with like perennials and shrubs and trees and all that other stuff, because there are going to be some gorgeous things going into the fall. But if you don't have any of these plants, maybe one spoke to you and it was like, ooh, that's really pretty, or that would work really well in my garden. Make a note of it, jot it down, right? So that way in the spring, when you go to your local garden center and you go shopping, or if you're ordering online from Creekside Nursery, that way you remember that plant. Because if you're like me, the biggest lie that I tell myself is, oh, I'll remember that. I don't have to write it down. Yes, I do. I always have to write it down, make a note of it. I actually have, because I have an iPhone, so in my notes, I have a folder that says garden info, and I have a note that says it's the 2025 garden ideas. And so every time I think of something, I jot it down on there. So that way it frees up my memory in my brain and it's written down and I don't forget it. And then when it's time to either go shopping or to plant or to plan, I can go back and look at all of my notes, and then there you go. So that's a very simple way to keep track of your plants, is just make a notes on your iPhone, or in, you know, of course you can do pen and paper. That works just as well. But yeah, make a note of it and enjoy it. Now, we are filming this first thing in the morning. I am going to come back to you this afternoon because I want to give you an update on the terrace garden. We are working on the lower wall that runs along the whole driveway. So we're going to get a good day's work in, and then I'm going to meet you back here later this afternoon to give you an update on that. My friends, it is the next day. Wanted to give you a really quick little update here on the terrace garden. Lots of good progress is being made, to just give you kind of a great overview. So what is happening is Andrew has gotten the whole first course done on the wall that goes all the way along the length of the driveway. Currently trying to figure out the elevation difference, because from the steps at the cottage garden to the end of the wall, there is at least 12 inches of difference in elevation. So we're gonna have it kind of stair-stepped a little bit. We're trying to figure this all out, y'all, but we're gonna have it stair-stepped because of the elevation difference. And then down here, because we're gonna have, right, so you have the wall, and we were looking at like how many courses, because we're gonna have that 3-foot flower bed that goes beyond, like right here on the wall. You can see how this elevation goes up. So you've got to have at least enough wall that the ground is not coming over the wall. We're still trying to figure that out. That's a little bit of a predicament. Also, you may notice that we have got some irrigation things going on. So we've got like the black line, and then of course the white PVC. So yesterday, that was Jerry's task, that he completely replumbed the whole gardens with the irrigation. So we have all the different irrigation going to different areas. We have this is 1 inch, Jerry? Yeah. Yeah, so the 1 inch PVC, and you'll notice, so this black pipe will be the irrigation sprinkler for the grass. And then down here, periodically, you'll see where you have the white PVC, and then there's the brown adapter. This is where we're going to plug into and have the drip irrigation for the flower bed. And those are done every, I don't know, there's 3 of them through here. So that way we have good water pressure. Instead of running just drip tube all the way down, you use that 1 inch supply line and you have a great pressure all the way through. Now, I want to come over here to the actual like patio area, because after reading your comments and then even talking to Mimi, I think there's a little bit of confusion about this area that we're calling the patio area. Remember, we'll have steps up here, right? But come on up here. So here, coming up to the patio area, we're calling this the patio area because it's going to have pavers, right? We have the permeable pavers. I brought down a couple yesterday. So these are the permeable pavers from Bellegarde. All the products we're using are Bellegarde. So in this, there are 3 different sizes, and you have to find your pattern and lay it out. It's permeable because between the pavers, you're going to have gravel and water can seep through there. So this entire pad is 39 by 16 basically will be covered in those pavers. Hence why I call it a patio, because it's going to be there. What's going to be housed here are only, and I say only, the 5 Vago garden boxes. These boxes are 42 inches wide and 83 inches long. So I did up a diagram yesterday on graph paper to lay everything out to see what our paths, our walkways are going to be, how everything's positioned in here. So this patio is going to house those 5 raised boxes by Vago. They're 42, 83, and 32 inches tall. They're the extra tall ones because I wanted to get tall because I'm tired of bending over. So that's what's going to be in this space. We're not going to have a fire pit and you know, patio seating and all of that. I may take my bench, that's my unique stone bench, and just tuck it here in a corner. But this is going to be the main home to those raised boxes. What I'm going to do in that are cut flowers. So I will have all sorts of fun flowers throughout the season. I have a ton of tulips and all sorts of great bulbs that will be there in this spring. So hopefully that has kind of cleared up some confusion. But yeah, the star of the show will be those 5 raised beds filled with gorgeous flowers for majority of the year. But making progress, we will come back to you and give you updates as things progress, as we figure things out. But as always, we hope you found this fun, informative, and inspirational. Y'all have an amazing day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.